Big exciting news as you start your Monday morning. A new week is underway. Hey, let's get it going. Incredible great news as renewed focus on stimulus still is front page. Major broadcast news are still putting second stimulus on the front page of all their coverage. This is amid this channel pushing the Purple Power caucus on Sunday. Over 2 million viewers have tuned in and have stepped up and said, enough is enough. We need executive orders. We need them in the next 8 days. But if we don't get executive orders, we're going to push right now for hashtag Purple Power FPUC, hashtag Purple Power check, and hashtag Purple Power hazard pay. A lot of money's owed and a lot of monies need to be paid. And with no deal on the table, no table in the room, let alone, we're bringing the table to the room. We're saying how much money we need. And this is a great, exciting, great day to start the mornings with Early Mornings LALATE. Hey, good morning, everybody. It's Early Mornings LALATE. I'm glad you joined me on a great, exciting Monday morning. I mean, here we are. It is just a new week, renewed energy. We're just days away from election night, and I'm so glad that you joined me on the fun, hip, lighthearted Early Mornings broadcast. A 1-hour broadcast starts with this video and then goes to the next one 30 minutes from now. Go to the first channel, subscribe. Subscribe because we're the best community there is out there, and it's a great day to start in the new morning. And who the hell records for you but me so that you can get a great new thing to go start the new day. Also, make sure you go to the first channel and hit alert so you can alert when a new video goes live. And the next video to go live is at the bottom of the hour at 6:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Also, like this video. If you're new to Early Mornings LALATE, boy, you're in store for a lot of fun. This is not the usual LALATE video. It is a live premiere. An instant premiere, and so as an instant premiere, it has a live chat. Where? Is Sir Lloyd in the chat? No, he's not in the chat. He's at the council unit, of course. Are we at the council unit? No, we're not at the council unit. That will be later today. But if you go to the right of the channel, right of the video over here, as I block, my own light, you'll see there's a live chat. You'll be able to interact and chat with your Purple Power buddies while the video's going live. This video's debuting at 6 a.m., so you can live chat with one another, super chat, and exchange thoughts and wishes, and comment about everything. Comment about the court. Although he can hear you. What a great day it is. So thank you for tuning in. Let's get to the breaking news. The breaking news as you start the new morning is that the stock market is expected to open sharply down this Monday morning. And the reason why is not stimulus, but is tied to stimulus. And this could singularly be the most important reason for the president to do executive orders. If you have not watched during the last 4 years, this president loves to watch the stock market and gauges the economy based upon whether GM and Caterpillar and Walmart and Amazon are trading up, and if they're trading down, then he's panicking, and if they're up, then no one needs stimulus. Well, this morning they're down sharply, and they're expected to continue to be sharply down this week if the following events continue to unfold. What is that event? 83,000 new COVID-19 cases confirmed on Friday and Saturday, the highest number since July, as reported by Johns Hopkins. It was such an alarming rate of number of increase that the stock market, pre-market, the Dow futures dropped sharply 100 points, as reported by CNBC. This is not good. The infection rates of 83,000 new cases on Friday and Saturday are predominantly focused in the Sun Belt states, and among the states are in fact the swing states of the campaign that both sides are trying to win. This is blasting away the previous record of 77,300 cases set in July. This is absolutely horrid. I actually misspoke. It's actually a worse number than I said. I said the last record was 73,000. No, yes, the last record was 73,000 in July. This is now the highest new daily cases in the U.S. since the pandemic started. It's not good. And so the Dow Jones Industrials fell 140 points immediately among the news, and S&P futures and Nasdaq futures, 100 futures, were down sharply among the news. Market analysts said this could continue if the COVID number cases continue to rise. What's important to understand for your stimulus is that the president gauges your need for stimulus based upon the stock market. And the president understands that historically, nowhere in the history of the presidency has an incumbent president been reelected when the stock market is collectively down in the month of September and October. Well, it's been up in the month of September, but this could change the dynamic immediately. The question is whether the president will now realize that executive orders need to be passed right away. When we see the stock market on Monday, the question is what will the new John Hopkins numbers for Monday and Sunday be, because we only have Friday and Saturday's new cases. This comes amid news that Mark Meadows on Sunday appeared on CNN and said that, hey, you know what, we do not have control of the virus. Okay. What are you doing with the virus? Well, we're just going to let it slide. Excuse me? Hello? On Friday, if you're with this channel, Joe Biden announced his new plan. It was not for stimulus. It was for COVID. But on Sunday, Mark Meadows said there really is no plan. Four members of Mr. Pence's staff, VP Pence's staff, came down with COVID-19 contractions. Infected was his chief of staff. Mark, not the president's chief of staff, but the vice president's chief of staff. And the vice president said, you know what, I'm not going to quarantine. I'm going to travel, and I'm going to go to rallies, and there will be rallies where people will not wear masks. And when asked about that, Mark Meadows said, you know what, life is life. That type of reaction is not sitting well with Wall Street, who says, you know what, we need stimulus, and we also need a COVID-19 policy. This is amid news on Friday that Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin said there really is no agreement. There is no agreement. And ironically, amid a messy interview by Nancy Pelosi, I mean, isn't every interview messy? I'll have that in the bottom of the half hour. In the bottom of the hour, Nancy Pelosi confirmed that there's really almost no agreement on anything for your second stimulus package. Now, this is categorically great news, and I'm going to explain to you why this is categorically great news. While we will push, Purple Power will push for executive orders, seats for stimulus, hashtag MSC over the next 9 days, we are now pushing in another front, and that pushing is the Purple Power Caucus. The Purple Power Caucus is basically 3 issues, and it can be more, but I'm just starting with 3. Stimulus check, FPUC, and hazard pay. Ultimately, with no agreement on the table between Steve Mnuchin and Nancy Pelosi, as incredibly confirmed this weekend and on Friday, well, guess what? We're going to bring the table to the negotiating room, because apparently they only have a table. They're not putting everything on the table. They don't even have a table. So we're bringing the table to the room, and we're bringing the table by saying, hey, we demand a certain amount of money, and we demand a certain amount of money for stimulus checks, a certain amount of money for FPUC, and a certain amount of money for hazard pay. And what's important for you to understand is the reason why we're doing this now is that you and I and everyone around us has no idea and cannot predict what's going to happen on election night. There's too many things that can happen on election night. We may talk about the presidency, the run for the presidency, but there's also the issue about the Senate. There's also the issue about Mitch. There's also the issue about and there's also an issue about contesting the election. There's too many permutations that, there'd be a whole YouTube channel just on election night. And there's no way to predict that event. But what we can do is start the narrative and push the narrative for the policy, for the amounts, and for the language that needs to be passed. What do I mean by language? For example, FPUC. How retroactive is it? Is it retroactive, or is it retro? I got that word really messed up yesterday. I loved it. Instead of saying retroactive, I said radioactive. is is FPUC going to be radioactive? Is it going to be retroactive? How retroactive is it going to be? Is it going to be until late July? How far in the future should it be? Should it be to mid-January, as Steve Mnuchin wants to have it? Or should it be later than that? There's those issues. Then there's the issues about how much. Ultimately, you may be saying, why are we doing this? Because, first, a lot of people are going to be voted out on election night, and a lot of new people are going to be coming, and they're going to be coming in January. Second, there could be a whole rush of time for people to start figuring out we got to do this and do that, and there's no collective agreement on anything. So we have to be loud and heard. Third, we're doing what other groups have tried to do, but didn't do it well. Problem solvers, well, they wrote a draft of a bill. They didn't introduce it to the Congress, and ultimately people responded to that. We pushed Mark Meadows and Steve Mnuchin and President Donald Trump to adopt the Problem Solvers bill. And in fact, they did because of our pushing. We pushed Steve Mnuchin to go to $300 billion for state and local, and he did. I was slamming him day after day, saying, why are you at 200? Why are you at 100? Go to 300. They did. And then ultimately, people want to slide away from their comfort zone if they're not pushed. Steve Mnuchin has been at $400 a week, for example, for FPUC, while the problem solvers are at $450 and $600. Nancy Pelosi wants to stay at $600, but that's not a reality that's really going to happen. And so ultimately, our pushing is working. And this is not the first time at the rodeo for this cowboy. I have pushed before with this channel and have done incredible successes with pushing. We pushed with EIDL loans. We pushed with EIDL grants. Viewers were not getting what they needed, and we pushed with their congressmen, we pushed with their senators, and we pushed with their representatives, and we got them the money. It's not a particularly easy path, but it takes a certain amount of effort. And rather than just sort of collectively tweeting, this and that and those and them, we need to start tweeting policy. And we need to tweet, this is how much stimulus check we're owed. This is how much hazard pay we're owed. This is how much FPUC we're owed. And the Purple Power caucuses are standing up. If you did not tune into LALATE at all yesterday, which is just shameful, let me go over what the caucuses are and how they work. Basically, you go on social media, whether it's Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook, and if you want to be part of the caucus for hazard pay, you tweet or post hashtag Purple Power hazard pay, all one word. And then you start tweeting what you think should be happening for hazard pay. Other people will see you. They'll search for the tweet. They'll see your tweets. You'll see their tweets. And suddenly the hazard pay people will start reacting to each other. It's sort of like when a new album drops and people start talking about the track of the album. I don't like it. The best track is the fourth. No, it's the fifth. I haven't heard the fifth. Oh my God, you're right. The fifth is really good. And so this is what happens. People say, oh, hazard pay should do this. No, you're forgetting this. Oh, you're right. We really should get that. And suddenly people start a discourse. They start a conversation, and that conversation builds, and one person is retweeting someone else's tweet, and suddenly it's retweeted 20 times, then 100 times, then 500 times, and suddenly we understand where the ball should land. At that point, then you ramp it up, and you ramp it up by bringing it to your representatives. You bring it to your senator and your representatives, and not just yours, but the other person also brings it to theirs, and the effort continues and heats up. That's just one example. It's incredible, great news as we start the new morning, as the stock market gets very jittery. Mark Malley, chief market strategist at Miller Tab, said in a note overnight to his analysts, based upon the action of the stock market we've seen over the past 2 weeks, it seems that new news could fuel a significant decline over the next week and a half. So basically, the stock market has not seen a lot of, what would you say? Catalyst events, catalyst words, and that they're looking for something that could make them very jittery. It's sort of weird. It's like, I'm waiting to get nervous. It's sort of like a horror movie. It's like you're expecting Jamie Lee Curtis to scream at the last minute. Oh, she didn't scream. What happened? It's just like that. So that's what the stock market is. They are really jittery and waiting for something they expect to be disconcerting. And this COVID-19 news is disconcerting. And with that, the president will wake up, presumably on Monday morning, I assume he's going to wake up. I mean, he's going to presumably wake up to a down stock market that could be continually down over the next couple days. Now, it's important to understand when we talk about these type of indicators is that another lockdown could be coming. Depending on whether you're in a Democratic-run state, or a state with a Democratic governor, or a state with a Republican governor, if you're in a state with a Democratic governor, you could see a lockdown in a matter of a couple of weeks. These are incredible surges, depending if the surge is in your state. But if it is, and you are a Democratic governor state, you could see a lockdown in a couple of weeks. This is important when we're talking about stimulus checks, because ultimately, the amount of stimulus checks that we're talking about is for the stuff in the past. It's not for now. Those stimulus checks that we're talking about now, or stimulus check, if you're Nancy Pelosi, come on, honey, is to cover you for the last lockdown. Okay, how about the new lockdown that's coming up? Yes. And how about hazard pay with a new lockdown coming up? Are you going to pay my essential workers? And how about FPUC? If I can't go to work, how am I going to live if my place of work is closed because of a lockdown? I need FPUC. You see the issue. There's a sense of urgency when there's a lockdown, and some people don't want to do lockdowns because they don't want anything to be urgent, or they don't want to work. But ultimately, there will be lockdowns, and that's why Purple Power needs to unite, and step up and be heard now before that situation kicks in. Let me go to some of your incredible comments and questions from yesterday's video in this time slot. Missy Daniel. Oh, if you hear your voice, jump in the chat on the right and see if you like my reaction or hate my reaction. Yes. No negativity now, please. Missy Daniel, we're all in this together, so let's stand firm. Amen. Love that comment, Missy. Cinda Crow. Trump needs to do his executive orders and get the stimulus checks out now. Yes, Cinda Crow. If I mispronounce your name, please don't, send me out to the guillotine. Chris Wishon. This is very sad for so many people. Tamara Humphrey. I'm praying that we get stimulus check or we'll lose stuff. James White. Yes, we need to stop thinking about the individual and start thinking about everyone's needs. I love that. Very well said. Michael Beavers. Can't imagine where we are the laughingstock of America. Skydog. I wish this country cared as much as we cared about it. Amen. I love that. Kim Sherrill. If the people and the businesses fall, so will the government. Stephanie Brown. 12 months is in a year, no less. Sympathy for all those people suffering. Purple Power sends prayers for all. God bless us. Amen. Deanna Ordonez. We need peaceful protests and media coverage. We do. William Carger. On that point of media coverage, if anyone wants to push the media coverage, let's do it. William Carger. How many vacations does the Senate take? It's just an enormous amount of vacations. I didn't cover that in this video. Mitch is going on vacation starting today. Yeah. The Senate closes today, so if you've not gotten your Disneyland rides to the Senate, it's going to close because they have to go on vacation. They have to sip their Mai Tai by the beach and sing, old songs. Deborah Bernard. Good morning, America. Good Lord is watching us. Della Costa. The Lord said all things are possible. With God only believe. Real King. We need to start pushing. Belinda. May God keep us in his hands. Mercy, mercy. We need 5 months of stimulus. And 6 months on top of that. This is not enough. It is not enough. If you have questions or comments to today's video, in addition to your chatting on the right, drop your comments below, and I might feature them in tomorrow's recording. Go to the front channel, subscribe, and make sure you hit the alert button so you can alert when a new video goes live. But for now, remember, at the bottom of the hour, at 6:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, the second half of Early Morning to LALATE debuts. It will feature all those functions that you see in this recording and more. Also, like this video. Coming up in 30 minutes is, not 30 minutes, coming up at 6:30 a.m. is, of course, the continuation of this broadcast. See you then, and safe still make it for me.